Today, I'm gonna replace my clutch basket, clutch plates on my 2011 Ducati 1198sp. As you can see, I've already taken the fairing off, which is the most miserable part. And I also took my clutch back. Actually, I took the whole thing apart already. And I put it back together, so it's gonna come apart pretty easily for anybody who hasn't done before or needs another place to find a video. There's one tricky part which I will get to, and I'll show you how that's done. In the meantime, let's start with loosening these guys here. Use your 4mm Allen. What I should have ordered along with a new clutch basket, which by the way, I'm going from the 12 to the 48, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, so I got those guys off. I always clean them. I should be replacing all that with new stainless steel, but I didn't order those parts. I'm gonna pull out the pressure plate all the way. Looks pretty good, no unusual wear there. Next, what you need to do is take all of these guys out. This is the part I like least about cleaning or maintaining clutch. The first few plates come out pretty easily. I always stack them so I can, and that's the first three. And after that, it's no fun at all. There. I have all these guys out. They're actually clean because I cleaned them before that's when I found out I had a problem. So I'm gonna just set these here for now. The next thing is removing this nut. And that requires that you have a tool that clamps this in place, holds it down. There is no other way you're gonna do it. Like I said, you cannot get past this point without having this tool. You don't need to screw it in tight. It doesn't need to be too tight. Next, you need to get this off. Requires a 32mm. Now, I've already loosened it. You usually need a breaker bar. This is around the point where you want to start being very careful how you remove parts. So once we get this nut off, you have this, I think they call it a spider clamp or something like that. Get that off. Normally I get excited when things are loose, but this is one time where you want to be kind of careful because there are bearings in there, ball bearings, that you don't want to lose. So those ball bearings set in grease, and as there, and you can see them holding on. That's because I put it back together and put a lot of bearing grease on there. But I'm gonna pull it out carefully. These bearings fall out, they will fall down here. I wanna catch them and not lose them. And they're all in place. So I'm gonna just plop this back on so I do not lose these bearings. Okay. Next thing, I wanna get these bolts off. Now, when they assemble this, they assemble everything with red Loctite. As you take these parts off, red Loctite starts breaking up and falling everywhere. I'm gonna take this washer off. Okay, so, I'm gonna get, I think it's 13mm. The clutch basket. By the way, if you might be able to see these little notches in there. That's what causes a Ducati dry clutch to rattle, because when they're in there, The more these little notches wear, the more it's going to rattle. So that's what gives it the beautiful sound. But eventually they wear down too much and it's time to replace it. This, with all the red Loctite that Ducati puts in there, the basket is difficult to remove. I looked online a million places. I saw guys drilling holes and using pullers and all this other stuff. But there was one guy who was really smart, so if you don't find that video, I'm going to share it. He just took a rubber mallet, tapped it a few times. Let me pull. Remove this part. Save it. There we go. Ta-da! It's out. You can still see a little bit of the red Loctite has chipped out. I ordered from Moto Wheels. I think it's Moto Wheels. The guys in Elsinore, Lake Elsinore. The guys I got my brakes from. This whole thing, $458. That included tax and handling here in California. $458.03. I got the EVR Ducati 48 tooth sintered plates and clutch basket. And it looks beautiful. And it comes with assembly instructions. Aha. Let's see how that goes. I want to get this back in. Just a little bit of good old casserole. I'm going to use my casserole. And get this thing ready to go. I need to put this guy in. I'm gonna Loctite overhead on all these guys. You want to screw these in hand tight, part way. Make sure if you only put them in a little tiny bit, you could strip them. So I would screw them in as far as you can, hand tight. Maybe try a little tightening. Move on to my impact wrench. I'll check the torque, but I believe this was 24 pounds. Okay. Now we want to put this in. I am going to put a little bit of white lithium grease right into these little pockets. There. Get it in place. Put a little bit of Loctite on there. Just okay. Holding it tight because I don't want those ball bearings to loosen up and fall out. Once I get this screwed on, I need to get this guy in place, tighten it up. Like I said, doesn't have to be too tight, just this needs to be torqued to 136 pound-foot. 136. There we go. Now we want to put these plates in, and I'm going to follow the instructions. Start with sintered at the bottom. .48 teeth, and this, what brand is it? EVR from Motor Wheels is rounded, so I suspect this is going to wear less. Let's pop this baby in there. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to follow the instructions though. And there's the last one, B. That's all the instructions they give you. Okay. At this point, we're putting the pressure plate back in. A little bit of grease on it. Now, a normal Ducati dry clutch has notches that you line up. This has no notches, as you can see. I've seen videos that say there's some, you can eyeball it somehow to see something, but I've not had that luck. So let's get that guy on there. And our springs back on. Put a little blue Loctite on these guys. In fact, I'll just put it directly inside. These don't get tightened too much. These get torqued to 5 Nm, or they say, some people have suggested just finger tight, whatever you can do with your fingers, but who knows how strong you are. But the first part is just getting them in, and that takes a little bit of work. Once those are in, it pulls the pressure plate in enough that you can get these other guys in pretty easily. I am going to use my impact driver just to speed it along, but I don't want to tighten them down. Whoops. Last step, put the clutch cover on, put the fairing back on. You don't want to watch that.